Again, if you guys are just joining us, this is live aerials right now of people getting off shuttles and going back into the airport because a Southwest Airlines plane blew out a tire during takeoff earlier tonight. It was taking these passengers to Nashville, and during takeoff, a tire blew out. They had to circle around for a couple hours until they got the okay to land again back at LAX. And when they landed, they noticed that the plane was also leaking some fuel. Now I can understand, it's strange, I can understand, the tire popping off at landing because, you're hitting the ground so hard. But takeoff, that seems like that would be pretty scary as soon as you're taking off because, they have to also, after you take off, they lift the wheels up into the plane. And they must have noticed right away that a tire popped off. And that's why they had to make this emergency landing. And you're watching this live right now on the Fox News Now stream. I'm going to read you some tweets from passengers that were on the plane tonight. Let me pull it up for you. And just to let you guys know, this is being called a safe emergency landing. So that is always good to know. It was a safe emergency landing after a tire blew out and hydraulic fluid leak. Stay tuned. I'm going to read you some of these tweets from passengers. I just need to find it. Again, if you guys are just joining us, these are live aerials of LAX Airport. Earlier this evening, a Southwest airline was taking off, headed for Nashville, and the tire blew out during takeoff. They had to make an emergency landing at LAX, and when they landed, they realized that it was also a hydraulic leak as well, or a fuel leak, whatever you like to call it. But thankfully, this is being called a safe emergency landing. They had everyone come out of the plane and get on a shuttle, and they've taken the people back inside. I want to read you, though, a tweet from a customer that was on the flight. She tweeted while she was still on the flight. She said, quote, "Seriously, 2 flights in 2 months where Southwest Air crews screw up bad. If everyone on this flight isn't compensated, I'm going to flip out." So she tweeted that. And then Southwest Airlines tweeted back, "Sorry to hear that. What's the flight number? I'll see what updates we can provide." And then she tweeted back, "At LAX, tire popped off during takeoff and landing gear broke off. We had to circle for 2 hours and then come back. Being shuttled from the runway back to the airport currently. Pilot did a horrible job at keeping us updated." Again, this is a tweet from a customer, well, not a customer, but a passenger on that plane. Southwest then replied back to that saying, "Oh no, I'm so sorry to hear that. Our team will work to determine the best course of action from here." And then she tweeted back, "Heading to customer service immediately once we are allowed off this plane." And then lastly, Southwest then tweeted back, "We have a new aircraft ready. Our proactive customer service team will reach out tomorrow." So it looks like Southwest was trying to be, helpful and answer her tweets. And obviously, when people complain on Twitter, you're right, Sarah. Sarah Jones just commented on the feed here. She said passengers are customers. You're absolutely right. I guess that's why I was calling them customers, because they are customers. And Southwest obviously was trying to handle it well over Twitter. Obviously you never want to have an argument over Twitter, and it's understandable that she's upset. About she was probably trying to head to Nashville, and now she's got to probably stay in a hotel tonight. But I want to know, have you guys ever experienced this before for yourselves? Have you guys ever been on a plane that had to make an emergency landing? I had a friend that was flying somewhere in Europe, maybe to Ireland, and the plane had to turn around because they were running out of fuel. So they had to, it was closer, the airport was closer, they'd already flown a few hours, but they had to turn back to get more fuel. And could you imagine being up in the air and the pilot saying, "Oh, we're out of fuel"? I haven't experienced anything like that, and luckily tonight was a safe emergency landing. But I want to know, you guys can comment below if you're watching, have you guys ever been on a plane that's made an emergency landing before, and what is it like? I'm curious. Again, you're watching this now on the Fox News Now stream, live aerials of LAX after a Southwest airline took off, headed for Nashville, and a tire popped off during takeoff. So they had to circle back, make an emergency landing at LAX, and that's when they found out fuel was leaking as well. One person commented, "Pilot wasn't updating because he was too busy keeping the passengers safe. Good job to pilot and staff for a safe emergency landing." That is true. It's really good that he just concentrated on getting the job done and made sure that everyone was safe. Julie tweeted, "They have to burn off fuel before emergency landings." That's interesting, Julie. I didn't know that. So they probably had to circle around a bit and burn some fuel off before they could make a landing. Barbara asks, "Where did the tire go?" Barbara, that is a great question. I don't know why I didn't think of asking that earlier. Not sure where that tire went, but it popped off during takeoff, so it probably just, went somewhere in the air. Who knows where it went? But hopefully they can put a new fresh one on there. I don't know about you guys, but I'm kind of scared to fly sometimes. I mean, I'm okay, but if something like this happened, I'd be definitely very nervous. A tire popping off, they'd have to make an emergency landing, and then knowing that you're landing without one of those tires, that can be scary. So I don't know what that was like when they landed, if it was a really rough landing because they didn't have that extra tire. I'm not sure what it would be like. But again, you guys are looking at this. If you're just joining us, this is live aerials of LAX right now, because a Southwest airline took off, head to Nashville, but during takeoff, a tire popped off. They had to circle around and make its way to LAX, where they had to make an emergency landing, and they also found out that it was also having a fuel leak. So they evacuated everyone off the plane, and I'm not sure if they were going to get them on another flight or if they have to put them in the hotel for tonight. But we will see what happens. I'm not sure what the protocol is when this happens on an airline. Do they get a free flight voucher because this happened? Do they get free points? Let me know if you guys know. Alicia says they usually don't pay for the hotel, just meal comp, I believe. Well, that would be kind of frustrating if you have to pay for your own hotel. But you know what? That makes sense. Why would, I mean, I guess it would be kind of difficult to pay for every passenger's hotel. But at least you get a free meal. Gail asked hydraulic or fuel leak. What I was reading was that it was called a hydraulic leak. But I've read at first it was a fuel leak, but now I'm reading it's a hydraulic fluid leak. I'm gonna find out the latest information for you guys. Now I'm seeing a few people here now are saying that they do pay for the hotels. That's what I thought. I thought that they put you up in an airport hotel. Um, Leanne says I would guess free room and $200 for the next flight. Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. But at least this is a safe emergency landing and nothing worse happened. Yeah, it would make sense that they would pay for the hotel. It wouldn't make any sense for them to say, "Hey, sorry, we popped the tire off and now you've got to go pay for a hotel." So, you guys are right. Definitely they definitely pay for the hotel. Maybe a meal voucher, maybe a flight voucher. Hopefully, you know, everyone's okay and I know some people are probably pretty upset because they had stuff to do tomorrow. Maybe, some people probably have to go to work tomorrow. Actually, a lot of people probably have to go to work tomorrow. They were headed to Nashville. It's 4 hours and 50 minutes away from LA. But that tire popped off and they had to come back and make an emergency landing. Julie says, wonder how much fuel they had to dump. Well, the flight is about 5 hours, so I am not a pilot or a plane expert, but I would assume that, that's if they had only been flying for an hour. I read on Twitter, one of the passengers said they had to fly around for 2 hours, so that would be pretty awful. Bree says your life is more important than work. Bree, you couldn't have said it better. You're right. Everyone is safe, and that's what is important. And I'm sure that your boss would understand, hey, look, I was on a flight and a tire popped off. Nothing I can do. And if you guys are just joining us, this is live aerials of LAX, where a Southwest Airlines plane had to make an emergency landing tonight because the tire popped off during takeoff. So they had to make an emergency landing at LAX. When they landed, they realized there was a hydraulic leak or a fuel leak. I'm not positive on which type of leak it was yet. One of the passengers on board was tweeting to Southwest Airlines saying, quote, the tire popped off during takeoff and landing gear broke off. We had to circle for 2 hours and then back. Southwest was tweeting back to her trying to be helpful, but she said she will be going to customer service immediately once they're allowed off the plane. So she's very unhappy. Okay, reading you guys another tweet from a passenger. He just tweeted Oh, I don't think that's for the same airline, so disregard. But I'm looking on Twitter for you guys right now to find the latest information. People tweet at the airline constantly. Have you guys ever tweeted at an airline because you're upset about a delay or you're upset about... Because I've heard that's the fastest way actually to get their attention is to send them a tweet. But personally, I like to just talk to someone face to face. But I guess you can't if you're on the plane. Jenny says some people are just going to whine no matter what. Don't give that Twitter lady anything. Yeah, I mean, really tweeting at them isn't going to do too much because they're going to treat everyone on the plane equally. It's not like they're going to give her anything more, but I'm sure, you know, she's young. She was a young girl and she had her Twitter open. She probably just wanted to, and actually kind of smart because she was probably the only one on the plane that was able to contact Southwest in that very moment, because on Twitter they have to answer right away. You know, they want to show good customer service, so kind of interesting she did that. I'm going to read you guys this article here. It says a Southwest passenger plane made an emergency landing at Los Angeles Airport, International Airport, this evening because of a, quote, mechanical concern, according to the Los Angeles Fire Department. None of the 147 people on board the twin-engine jet were injured. The plane landed safely just after 7:15 p.m. Humphrey is the spokesperson, by the way. He said passengers were using a mobile staircase to exit the plane and then boarded awaiting buses. Lupita said, just got here, what happened? Well, Lupita, this is live aerials of LAX right now where a plane... earlier, a plane had to make an emergency landing because earlier it took off, the tire popped off. It was headed to Nashville, but it had to make an emergency landing because the tire popped off during takeoff. When they landed at LAX, they also found out there was a fuel leak. So they had to evacuate everyone from the plane. So we're just watching the live aerials right now. Denise says she could have caused more issues by using her phone. That's in regards to the girl I was talking about earlier who was tweeting from the plane. That's true. You know, they always say, don't use your phone in the air. I'm one of those paranoid people that puts my phone on airplane mode as soon as we take off. I don't want to be any part of the reason why a plane would have any issues. Trevor says, where did the tire go? Again, great question. Not sure where the tire went. It popped off during takeoff, so it probably went really far and just popped off real fast. And then they had to make an emergency landing, and I'm not sure what that was like since one of the tires was gone. You know, I don't know what that emergency landing felt like with a missing tire. And then also a fuel leak. So luckily everyone's okay. Gail says she's been on a flight that had to do that, flying around, using up fuel, doing several things. Reduces a great deal of weight from the fuel, so during emergency landing, the weight of the plane is much less. That's interesting. I thought maybe they were just doing it because they had to wait for their turn to land. But yeah, you are probably right. Again, we're just getting details, so I'm just sort of watching this with you guys. But we do know, this is live aerials of LAX. A Southwest plane was taking off tonight. The tire popped off. They had to make an emergency landing at LAX. They were headed to Nashville, which is about a 4-hour, 50-minute flight. You guys are watching people getting off the bus right now. Probably some angry people, maybe some people that are fine with it. You know, some people might not have anything, you know, to do tomorrow, but I know a lot of people probably have to get up for work, so, you know, a lot of shaken up people. Luckily, though, they're calling this a safe emergency landing. But Gail, thank you for sharing your story. I've never experienced an emergency landing, but if you guys have ever experienced anything like this on a plane, comment below. And while you're watching, hit that subscribe button on our YouTube page and that like button on our Facebook page. That way you guys are always in the know. You see these live videos in your feed. So you're the one that can say, I watch this all live. Because we stream from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Monday through Friday. Live videos like this from all over the U.S. Joshua says, I've never been on a plane. I would freak out. Probably the reason I've never been on one. It's not too bad. I freaked out on my first plane ride too, but a lot of the times it's smooth rides, pilots are nice, you get some snacks. These things don't usually happen. I'm just glad that everybody is safe because these things can be scary. I'm a nervous flyer myself. And you know, if the pilot had updated and said, hey, we lost a tire, we got to make an emergency landing, I would be very scared. But that's just me. A lot of people that fly all the time don't feel that way. They're like, oh, you know, just another bump in the road. Aaron says he wants to see the landing. I wish we could have gotten the landing. We don't have the actual landing, but we have, you know, the people getting off the bus. We have the live aerials of the plane. Again, if you're just joining us, this is live aerials of LAX right now. People are getting off a shuttle bus from a plane that had to make an emergency landing earlier this evening, about an hour ago, because when it took off, a tire popped off, and they had to circle around to burn some fuel, come back, land at LAX, and when they landed, they had a fuel leak. So they had to evacuate everyone off that plane, get them on the bus. Now they're probably either putting them on another flight or putting them up in a hotel. But they are calling this a safe emergency landing. Good job to those pilots. Kelly says she flew into Hurricane Katrina. That is crazy, Kelly. I'm glad that you were alive. That can be scary. I've never had too many bad experiences flying. I've never had to make an emergency landing, but if you guys have ever had to be on a flight that's had to make an emergency landing, comment below. Let me know, what was that like? Was it scary? Did they handle it well? Jeremy says wheels don't pop off. It was overpressurized and blew. Jeremy, that could be it. It could have blew off. Again, we're just getting details right now about this Southwest Airlines that had to make an emergency landing. I'm going to look on Twitter for you guys so I can get the latest information. I'll read this article for you guys. It says a Southwest passenger plane made an emergency landing at LAX this evening of a, quote, mechanical concern. None of the 147 people on board were injured. The plane landed safely. The passengers used a mobile staircase to exit the plane. That's all we know for now. We're not sure where the plane was coming from, but it was heading to Nashville. Again, I'm still looking on Twitter, and I'll keep you guys updated. You guys are watching this live right now on the Fox News Now stream. I think, though, I'm reading here that it took off at LAX to head to Nashville, and when it took off at LAX, the tire blew off, and they had to circle around for 2 hours to use fuel up. and come back to LAX and make an emergency landing. And when they landed, it was leaking a significant amount of hydraulic fluid, but no one on board was injured. And I guess I should be calling this a jet, not a plane. Scott says, I just flew from LAX to Phoenix tonight. Just landed an hour ago. Well, Scott, we're glad you were safe. It's a pretty nice short flight from LAX to Phoenix. Stephanie says, I've been on an airplane where we needed to land ASAP. A woman was going to give birth, and it was scary. Imagine having an emergency. Oh, yeah, that would be scary. Yeah, I don't think you're supposed to fly when you're that close to giving birth either. That can be really scary. Arturo asks how many passengers. There were 147 passengers, and no one was injured. Kelly says, sometimes babies come early, never up to us. So true, Kelly. So true. That would be scary, though. About to have it on a plane, you know, you want to be in the hospital to have it. It would be very scary. Thankfully, everyone is safe. Mario says, is this Samia talking? No, this is not Samia. I am one of her co-hosts, Mary Kate. Nice to meet you guys. Hi, Donna. Hi, Alicia. Hi, Trevor. Thanks for saying hello. And thanks for watching the Fox News Now stream. Again, if you guys are just joining us, you're looking at live aerials right now at LAX, where a plane took off from LAX earlier tonight, headed to Nashville, but when it took off, the tire blew off. I should actually call this a jet, because when it landed, it had to make an emergency landing back at LAX, and they also found out it was leaking hydraulic fluid, so they had to evacuate everyone off the jet and bring them inside to the airport. Mindy asked if is it leaking hydraulic fluid or fuel. I've been told it's leaking hydraulic fluid. The plane originally took off from LA, headed to Nashville, but during takeoff, the tire popped off. And when they landed, they realized it was leaking hydraulic fluid. But luckily, this is being called a safe emergency landing. Again, you guys are watching everyone getting off the shuttle bus right now. Probably going to be put up in a hotel or Maybe get on another flight. Although, if it were me, I would rather just be put up in a hotel. It's kind of a scary thing to happen. Unless, I mean, I know a lot of people have somewhere to be tomorrow, but luckily, everyone is okay. Again, this is a Southwest Airline jet. Took off at LAX earlier this evening. Tire popped off, or blew off, whatever you would like to call it. So they had to circle around for a bit to burn off some fuel and make an emergency landing back at LAX. One of the passengers tweeted that they circled around for 2 hours. Looks like everyone is getting off that shuttle bus safely. Emergency landing at LAX tonight. A Southwest jet blew a tire during takeoff and had to circle back, make an emergency landing at LAX, and then when they landed, they realized it was leaking hydraulic fuel. Thanks, Alicia. Alicia just commented that someone posted a pic of a wheel on Instagram. If you hashtag emergency landing, just an FYI. Thanks, Alicia. I'll definitely look that up. Yeah, it's interesting if you type in the hashtag Southwest in Twitter. There's tons of tweets coming in right now of passengers and news stations all talking about this emergency landing. But you know what? Luckily, everyone was safe, and the most that's going to happen is they're going to get a new wheel, fix the leak, and the passengers will fly out tomorrow. Oh, thanks for posting that, Alicia. So that looks like one of the wheels. Surprised he was able to get that close and take a picture. It's a pretty good photo, though. Robert says, glad they are all safe. Yeah, Robert, I think we can all agree. That's great. It was a safe landing.